Welcome to All Things Trail Running. Today we are going to talk about trekking poles. When do I need them? What should I be looking for? Do I even need them? What length should I buy? All those fun things. We're going to talk about it in today's episode. Welcome. It is hot in Colorado right now. We're having a heat wave. It's going to be over 100 degrees most days this week, which is actually a good thing because I'm training for the Desert Rat stage race, which is next week. It's a race that runs from Fruita to Moab over 6 days. It's going to be over 100 degrees every day out there in the heat. It's about 150 miles from start to finish. It's going to be epic, but it is going to suck in the heat. But there was a comment that was posted on the Facebook group that I'm a part of last week asking about poles and whether or not you need them and whether or not you should use them or bring them. So I thought it'd be good to do a little episode on that. The first thing, when do I need poles? Personally, I really like poles on climbs. So if the grade gets up to 7-8%, I think poles really help with the forward momentum. So the big thought behind trekking poles is that you have 4 points of contact instead of just 2. So you're taking a little bit of strain off your quads, you're taking some strain off your legs, you're able to leverage through your arms as you're going uphill. That's where I personally use these poles the most. So where I don't think poles really help or give you an advantage is if you're going over flat, like just somewhat like rolling terrain, if your race isn't that long. I usually leave the poles at home, but if I have a longer race like 50K or more and there's going to be quite a bit of vertical, I usually bring the poles with me. So there are two basic types of poles. There is a fixed pole that you can get, and there is also a collapsible pole. And collapsible poles come in kind of two different types, ones that collapse into themselves and you can expand to any length, and other ones like these ones, which are kind of like a tent pole. They're still a fixed length, but they fold up nice and easy and expand really easy, and then you can store them really easy. So for fixed poles, usually you see those on the ski slopes a lot when people are skiing downhill, where you don't really need to change your pole that much. Or on a long trek where you don't really need to be storing your poles. You're going to use them the whole time, kind of give you that extra stability. So fixed poles are really good for that. Where I think collapsible poles give you an advantage is in a sport like trail running. When you're trail running, they also give you an advantage when you are like doing some backcountry skiing type of activities, where you can store them in your pack, kind of expand them out to the length that you want and do your climbing or sort of downhill after that. So other thing that you really want to think about is the type of material. Once again, there's like two basic types of material that poles are made out of. There's aluminum, which is typically pretty strong stuff, like you're not going to bust a pair of aluminum poles in half. And there is carbon, so carbon is a lot lighter. Sometimes, at times, it can be a little bit more brittle. So I have had friends snap carbon poles on trail runs, getting them stuck between a rock and just going over and snapping their poles. So most people and most trail runners I know use some sort of carbon pole just for the lightweight and storability factor. You're usually carrying them on your vest here, or you have some sort of quiver in the back. You want them lightweight so you can kind of store your poles that way. The other thing that you really kind of want to think about is what type of length poles should you get. Get a lot of questions on that. So it's a general rule of thumb, like similar to skiing, where you want your arm at 90 degrees to the ground as your pole touches the ground. That's typically a pretty good length. I will kind of add on to that, though, that I think that I like my running poles a little bit shorter. So I will size down a size for my running poles. So I am 5'8". This is a 110 pole. I don't know if you can see this. And you can see my arm is a little bit, it's not quite 90 degrees, a little bit past that. I like that so I can just kind of drive through the stroke. Whereas my skiing poles, my backcountry split boarding gear is a little bit taller, so I'm usually at like 115 or 120 on the length of those. Like I said, I would recommend just going with your normal length, maybe sizing down a size so you can kind of get that drive through as you're going up a hill. So now we're going to go to a demo on using them on the trail. But before we do, if you could do us a huge favor, give us a like, go subscribe to our channel. If you have a video you want to submit, you can do that too. We're happy to post good content. And if you are interested in the specific types of poles and manufacturers and those sort of things, we have another video that we'll link at the end of this one that kind of goes into, I think we have like 4 or 5 different types of trekking poles that we break down. Anyway, we're gonna have Caitlin take it away with some demo on the trail on like how to leverage up as you're climbing and how to use your poles. And I hope this was informational for you guys, and I hope you have a great day.
You want to find a nice, good climbing rhythm. You want to hit those wrists nice and parallel with the foot going up the hill, and really use your arms to propel you up. Dig in with your quads a little bit, but use your arms to really dig into the poles. And as you get to some really steep stuff, if you find yourself using both arms at a time to really dig into the ground with your legs going up, it's also really helpful. I'll show that at the top of the hill for you guys. Remember to dig in with those arms to alleviate some of the fatigue that's going to happen in your quads. Have fun out there, enjoy your adventures, and happy trails.